Okay, so having discussed the characteristic impedance and the reflection coefficient of transmission lines, we now move on to a discussion on graphical methods. The Smith chart. So a Smith chart is a chart which makes the transmission line calculations very easy. So in this discussion, we will derive the Smith chart through a simple set of steps. And then after that, we'll see how this Smith chart is used through a couple of examples. So we know that the reflection coefficient is given by ZL minus Z0 divided by ZL plus Z0. ZL is the load impedance, Z0 is the characteristic impedance. Now you can rearrange this and write ZL by Z0 as equal to 1 plus gamma divided by 1 minus gamma, the reflection coefficient. Now this term ZL by Z0, if you see, can be seen because it's basically the load impedance divided by the characteristic impedance. So it is a normalized load impedance. I will write small z subscript L. So that's a normalized load impedance, normalized with respect to the characteristic impedance. And that will be, since the reflection coefficient is, as you know, complex in general, we can write this as 1 plus capital gamma R, real part, plus J, capital gamma I, the imaginary part of the reflection coefficient. Similarly, in the denominator, we will have 1 minus gamma R minus J gamma I, because gamma becomes gamma R plus J gamma I. Now, we multiply this term, both the numerator and denominator, with the conjugate of this, so that we can separate them into their real and imaginary parts easily. So 1 plus capital gamma R plus J gamma I, multiply this by the conjugate of this 1 minus gamma R plus J gamma I divided by 1 minus gamma R square. So you know what happens when you multiply with the conjugate. I will skip that simple step wherein I arrive at this by multiplying this with its conjugate, and you end up getting a relation like this. Okay, so further we can separate this easily if you open up the brackets in the numerator. Again, I will skip the steps. You can write this as, these are all very simple steps. So you can write it like this. 1 minus gamma R square minus gamma I square plus 2J gamma I divided by 1 minus gamma R square plus gamma I square. So here I have the real and imaginary parts standing out. So I will write the, of course this is still, please keep track of the left hand side, it is the normalized load impedance. I will write it as equal to small r plus j small x, that is the real and imaginary parts, the resistive and the reactive parts of the normalized load impedance, r plus jx. So comparing these, the real and imaginary parts, we can write r as equal to 1 minus gamma r square minus gamma I square divided by 1 minus gamma r the whole square plus gamma I square, and x, the reactive part, will be 2 gamma I divided by 1 minus gamma r square plus gamma I square. So we have this now. Now what we do is we take the resistive part and we slightly manipulate it, in the sense we just multiply r with this That means both sides I am multiplying with this. So I will get again an intermediate opening up of this bracket. I will skip that step. You will get r plus gamma r square r minus 2 gamma r r plus gamma I square r equal to 1 minus the numerator, 1 minus gamma r square minus gamma I square. Now you can see that if you bring this gamma r square here and this gamma I square here, you can write it as r plus 1 plus r gamma r square. So this is by virtue of this being brought here. And then you have plus 1 plus r gamma I square, that is I bring this term over here and combine it with this. Now what is left? Minus 2 gamma r equal to 1. So this is brought here, this is brought here, 1 is left there and rest of the terms I have over here. Now I can use the method of completing the squares, but before that probably I will divide both sides with 1 plus r. It becomes easier to identify the square terms then. I am dividing both sides by 1 plus r. And this term I can take over there. So that becomes 1 minus r by 1 plus r. So this goes over there. Right. Now I can, if you look at these two terms here, if you take a look at this, take a look at this, you can use the method of completing the squares, which you should have studied in your high schools. You can write it as plus gamma r minus r by 1 plus r whole square. So when I open this bracket, I will get gamma r square term minus 2r gamma r divided by 1 plus r term, and then an extra r square by 1 plus r square. So I compensate for that by subtracting this, so that this as a whole gives me the rounded term here, and that will be equal to 1 minus r by 1 plus r. Now I can take this over here and I will end up getting gamma I square plus gamma r minus r 1 plus r whole square equal to, so I take it over here, 1 minus r by 1 plus r plus r square 1 plus r square, and you can take 1 plus r square as the denominator common, and you will end up getting 1 minus r square plus r square, which is a simple calculation. So this becomes, it's a very simple step. Now I write, hence all these things I will write now as gamma r minus r by 1 plus r square plus gamma I square equal to the far right term. This gets cancelled and you have 1 by 1 plus r square, equation 1. It's an important equation. And what this equation is, if you look at it very carefully, this equation is a circle, equation of a circle with origin at r by 1 plus r, that is on the gamma r gamma I space. The origin is at r by 1 plus r and 0, and the radius is 1 by 1 plus r. So this is our first part of the derivation of the Smith chart. We have used the real part of the normalized impedance and done this. We do a similar thing with the reactive part of the normalized impedance and normalized load impedance, and go through a similar manipulation to arrive at another circle, which completes the derivation of the Smith chart. Okay, now so we now take the reactive part of the imaginary part of the normalized load impedance, and that was found to be, it is there on the previous sheet, it was found to be x equal to 2 gamma I divided by 1 minus gamma r the whole square plus gamma I square. Okay, now I will manipulate this as I did earlier. So 2 gamma I is equal to, again multiplying both sides by the denominator, we will have x plus gamma r square x minus 2 gamma r x plus gamma I square, and as we did earlier, we can divide throughout with x somewhat similar to what we did earlier. So dividing by x, we get it like this, and there is a small mistake here. There should have been x here, so that means there is no x here, right? So it's a small discrepancy. I've corrected it here. There should have been an x here, which I didn't write earlier, and consequently there is no x here because I'm dividing both sides by x. Okay, and now I can write this as, if I take this one over here, it's just a simple manipulation, minus 1 equal to gamma r square minus 2 gamma r plus gamma I square minus 2 gamma I by x. So again I will use the method of completion of squares. So I will use it first over here, gamma r minus 1 whole square. So gamma r square will be there, minus 2 gamma r will be there, an additional 1 will come, which I can take care of by doing this. And now I use the completion of squares method here, and I will end up doing this, gamma I minus 1 by x whole square, that will give me gamma I square minus 2 gamma I x plus 1 by x square. So I have to compensate for that like this. Right. Now you can see that this is cancelling off, and you will now end up getting an equation of a circle. Okay. The circle equation will be gamma r minus 1 square, this term, plus gamma I minus 1 by x square, that is this term, and this I will take over here, but since I have flipped it, I write it as 1 by x square. This is equation 2. So there you have the circle. This is a circle. This is a circle. In fact, just a minute. Yeah, equation 1 was there. Yes, yeah, and this is equation 2. Correct. This is equation 2. So this is a circle. Again, if you look at it on a gamma r, gamma I space, it is a circle with the origin at 1 by x and radius equal to 1 by x. Right, so that's our second circle that we have. Now you plot these two circles, the sets of circles. In fact, it will be a set of circles because for each value of x you will get a different, for example, if x is 1, let us say, you will get a circle at with origin at 1, 1 and radius 1. Similarly, if you take the previous equation, if you take equation 1 over here, you can see that if say r is equal to 1, you will get a circle with origin at 1 by 2, 0 and radius 1 by 2. So you are going to get a set of circles for various values of r and x. Now these circles, when you plot on the gamma r, gamma I space, you get the Smith chart. You get the important part of the Smith chart. So let us quickly do that. Let us plot these circles and see how they look like. So let's plot it now. I'll just write the equation here for easy reference, the two equations. The first one was this, gamma r square plus, gamma r minus r by 1 plus r whole square plus gamma I square equal to 1 by 1 plus r whole square. That was the first one. And the second one was gamma r minus 1 square plus gamma I minus 1 by x square equal to 1 by x square. That was the second one. Now let us draw the axis. Gamma r, gamma I. So this is actually the complex plane because this is the real part and the imaginary part of the reflection coefficient. Basically, this is the gamma r and gamma I. Now we will start plotting the first equation here. So let us begin with the case where r is equal to 0. So if r is 0, you see that the origin is the center. The center of the circle is at the origin. So I can draw the circle like this. It will be with its center at the origin and radius 1 unit. So that will be the unit circle. So I'll just draw it roughly like this. And I'll just write somewhere here r equal to 0. So this is the circle for r equal to 0. And now we consider r equal to 1. Let us say r is equal to 1. So when r is equal to 1, the center is at 1 by 2 and 0. So this will be 1 by 2. Center at 1 by 2 and 0, gamma I 0. And radius is, since r is equal to 1, the radius is 1 by 2. So you will have a circle like this. That is for r equal to 1. Now we can go for r is equal to 2. So when r is equal to 2, you will have the center of the circle at 2 by 3, 0. So if this is 1 by 3, this will be 2 by 3. So at 2 by 3, gamma r 2 by 3, gamma is 0. center will be here, and radius will be, since r is equal to 2, radius will be 1 by 3. So you will have a circle. This is 1 by 3 now. This is 1 by 3. So the center is here. The circle will be like this. So this is for r equal to 2. Similarly, for r is equal to 0.5, we'll just plot one more. R is equal to 0.5. It will be having its origin at 1 by 3, 0. So r is equal to 0.5. That will be 0.5 by 1.5. 0.5 by 1.5 is 1 by 3. So the origin is here, and the radius is 1 by 1.5. That will be 2 by 3 is the radius. So this is 2 by 3. This is 1 by 3. This is 1. So this is 2 by 3. And the circle will be somewhat like this. This is for r equal to 0.5. Like this, you can have numerous circles. You're just showing only 4 here. Now we will plot the second equation. So again, we will start with, say, x equal to 1. Let's take x as equal to 1. If x is 1, the center of the circle will be at 1, 1. Center of the circle will be at 1, 1. So this is 1, this is 1. So center will be here. I'll just put a dot here just to keep track of the center of the circle for x equal to 1. And the radius is also 1. So your circle will go like this. Since this is 1, this is also 1, your circle will be like this. So the sketch will be like this. This is for x equal to 1. Now if I take x minus 1, then what happens is I will have it like, again, radius will be 1, but the origin will be now, the center of the circle will be now at 1 minus 1. So that will come here, gamma r1. So that will be like this, x equal to 1. And now if I go for x equal to 2, if I go for x is equal to 2, the origin, the center of the circle will be at 1 and 1 by 2. So gamma r1, 1 by 2, say somewhere here. This is for x equal to 2. And x equal to minus 2, you have the origin somewhere here, the center of the circle somewhere here. And when x is equal to 2, the radius is 0.5. And this is 0.5. This being 1, this is 0.5. So you're going to have a circle like this. Somewhat. This is a freehand sketch, but this is how it's going to look like. That is for x equal to 2. And this is for x equal to minus 2. This is minus 1. And we will plot one more. Let's take x infinity and see what happens. If x is infinity, the origin, the center of the circle is at 1, 0. That is here. And radius is, since x is infinity, the radius is 0, so that's a point. So x infinity is a point here at 1, 0. And you can see that r infinity is also there. You can see r infinity, what happens when r is infinity, you can see here. If r is infinity, the origin is at, the central circle is at 1, 0, again same point, and the radius is 0. So r is equal to infinity is also a point here. And remember, r is equal to infinity means that the normalized load impedance is infinite, and whenever the load impedance is infinite, it is an open circuit. So the transmission line load is open. If the other side of the source, the transmission line, the opposite of the source side is open, you have r infinity, as well as x infinity, of course. X infinity also refers to an open circuit. And for x 0.5, I will just draw the sketch. I will not explain much because I explained what it is. X equal to 0.5, quickly if you take a look, you see that the center of the circle is at 1, 2. So 1, 2 will be somewhere here. So you're going to get, and the radius, of course, you can see what happens for x is equal to 0.5. The radius is 2. Something like this. And this is for x minus 2. X equal to 2, x equal to minus 2. And you can see what happens when x is 0. That can be interesting. When x is 0, you will have a circle with its center at 1 infinity. So 1 infinity and radius infinity. So that will be a part of it, the circle. It will be actually a straight line, x equal to 0, because its origin is at 1 infinity and radius is infinity. So this is what it is. Right. Now, this is, we cannot go on drawing this because eventually we will run out of patience doing this. So this is only to show what a Smith chart is or how it is derived, how we arrive at it. An actual Smith chart, which a useful Smith chart will look somewhat like this. You can see the R circles and you can see the X circles for various, and you can see the values over here. R equal to 1, R equal to 0.8. Similarly, you can see the X values. You can see the X values. You can see them here. So how to use the Smith chart? That will be explained using some numerical examples later.